You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 25th meeting of the Michigan City Urban Enterprise Association. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
And he has, Nick Pollock, he has volunteered to go and pull the permit also, so that we can make sure that this is done properly. We're looking at, and if I could, let me pass this out to.
Everybody should have it in your board.
I've got a different one.
Oh, you got a different one, alright.
Updated
I'll get
one.
that scanned in so everybody can see it.
The principle is the same for what you got before, but it's changed, the layout changed just a little bit. The initial one was one that we pulled offline, but this one is constructed by the group that's working on Vibrant Michigan City. And they're looking into, they've been helping out also to ensure that this project goes well. But we're looking at 32 beds, raised beds. 2 of the beds, if you were to turn the paperwork, New Covenant is down at the bottom and look to the right. There's an area there that's white with 2 rectangles in it. That's the entrance. And that's the area where the beds for those that are disabled, we're dedicating 2 of the beds to them. And that's beds where concreted completely around the area, plus there's concrete going into a 20 by 30 structure, 20 by 30 foot structure. Then if you look just above that structure, there's more sidewalk, and it goes down to an area where we're gonna have a greenhouse, so that even in the winter time, we're able to continue this growing process, so that when spring hits, we can jump right back into it and continue our growing. We placed a small little track area. This is the gray area that's inside of the fence. The fence is where the dotted lines are. A little track, because we want to have this as a spot where young and old can get together. I work at the, I volunteer almost every day at Knapp School during lunch hour. One of the biggest problems I see is the lack of respect that children have for adults. And I do have to say it goes both ways. Adults have to understand, in order to get respect, you've got to respect. So this is an opportunity for both sides to get together, and this is what I'm really hoping, that the young and the old can get together on a regular basis and begin to understand each other. This will help our community to be a close-knit community where we've got problems with crime, and we're hoping that this will help that also, once everybody knows who everybody is. And so I found even at the school that when the children know that I know their parents and I have access to their parents, I get a much better product that way, because they're afraid that I'm going to talk to their parents to get things taken care of. So it's been a win-win situation going into the school every day. And so we've got these 32 beds, 2 for the handicap. The structure is there as a meeting ground. There's already community garden on the east side in Eastport. Mm-hmm. I just got word last week, I don't know how true it is, that they're closing that one down. So
that's interesting, because it seems to have a lot of activity going on.
Yes. So I don't know what the reason. Don't know what the reason.
I see a lot of stuff has started to come up out of the ground. That would be a shame.
Yeah.
Rodney. But before we get off of that, I just got a couple questions.
Yes.
The track, the gray area that's showing on the picture, so that's a walking track.
That's
correct?
A walking track.
So it will be marked out with indicators of how much you walk, maybe to let folks see if they have accomplished something that really build their walking pleasure.
Yes.
What about a water fountain? Is there one located anywhere?
We don't have that on the map, but we're working with the water department. They've given us a price of, I think, $24.35, I think it was, to ensure that we have water lines coming into the property. That will be to water all of the whatever we're planting, and also to be able to have access for drinking.
Okay, so having a drinking fountain is something that definitely can be added
Definitely,
to this. Because I think that is really important, maybe even in 2 different locations.
Okay, all right.
Is what I would recommend, maybe south and north of the park.
Okay.
Or maybe east and west might be better depending on how.
And we
I'm looking
are-
at this properly. North and south.
Let's see, 10th Street would be, let's see, if it's turned this way, where's
South.
10th Street?
That would be the
Yeah.
south.
Correct. 10th Street is
And it
south
will
side.
run to almost 9th Street, which is
Actually-
not 9th Street is.
Actually, this is the area outside of the fence is the alley between the church
Got it.
and this property.
Got it. Great location.
Yes,
Great location.
this is, you can pass this around if I can get that, I appreciate it. The first spot is where we're putting the garden. The middle spot is the area that someone else owns that we're trying to get that from them, purchase it from them. When I approached them before, they said that they were going to give it to somebody that works for them. They rehab homes, and they were going to give it to someone to
And
build.
what is that area again that you're speaking of right now?
This middle area.
Where the green
Oh, no. What you have is gonna be the left-hand side of this drawing here.
Okay.
That whole thing there is what fits right here.
Got it.
And this middle portion is what someone else owns. And then the furthest one, we already own that. So we're in the process of trying to see if we can get that from them. I'm hoping that when we approach them now and tell them there's gonna be a garden here and possibly a basketball court here, that they'll give that, or sell that property to us.
So they're on that
So
lot
I
and
noticed
this
on the
lot.
old one, there's
This
a
lot is on-
structure,
That's
is that why
the-
you're not?
that's the
you're trying
one
to put
that's
basketball
stretching
court
from
in?
T-
I'm still gonna put, we still gonna put it in.
Okay.
Yeah,
They
he
all
just
do,
left
but
it
this
off,
is-
but if
Okay.
you notice, we still have plenty
Yeah,
of
so
room in
green.
there,
Yeah.
to be able to put that structure.
Very interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's the drawing.
This one also shows the dimension of where we're building the garden at.
If you were able to obtain that lot right in the center, what would maybe phase 2 of this whole plan?
Possible food bank also,
Okay.
so that the people can actually come. We also own the area behind the church. So we're looking at the possibility of maybe 2 or 3 food trucks in there to help another place that they can come and get some food at decent prices. And again, all of the land is being donated, so there won't be these high prices for somebody to come in and bring like a food truck or whatever.
So what is the possibilities of this particular lot not being it changing and not being able to be given to the project? I mean, because
That middle portion?
this one right, the smack dab in the center.
It
of the
is
whole-
possible, but we're still, regardless, that will not stop us from doing some of the things that we want to do. If we have that middle, we can do more. But that middle one will not stop us at all from doing what we need to do.
How would the track work then?
It's inside the fence.
It's a different lot.
Okay.
In actuality, we're even looking at, if we have all of that property, another track
vacate
going on
that
the
out.
outside.
Oh, okay.
of
Okay,
that
because see, that's
also.
what this is stretching from one end to the
Yes,
other. So
yes.
it has to be
Yes.
outside of the perimeters in order.
Yeah, if we did that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if we own the whole thing, we're gonna do it around the entire spot, all 3 lots, or all 4 lots, because the garden is situated on 2 lots.
So with that being said, there is opportunities for other support
Okay,
that we've just learned about
okay,
through our federal partners that I think would be essential for what you're trying to do here and make this really come to fruition.
Yeah, and it's a community thing, so all the
Right.
help that we can get, we're doing it to try to reach out to that community so we can really act like a community.
It's really the bottom line is that when the committee sees this and decides one way or another, our partners at the federal level will go with
Okay.
that process.
Okay.
So what
would be
you would have to apply, of
Yes,
course,
yeah.
but again, it would qualify you to move forward and to receive more funding to help you with this project.
Okay.
The USDA also has grants
Exactly.
Okay.
for community gardens, so you might want to reach out to them.
I sure will. See, this is the information I need, and when I find it out, I go through with it. We
That
had
just came out, that was just shared with us recently, so that's something you really want to follow up on
I
for
sure will.
sure.
We sure will. We'll do
Because
that.
this is quite cool.
Have you gauged like public interest on this?
Yes. First of all, the membership at the church where I pastor, they're very excited about it.
Okay.
Some of the other churches heard about it. They're excited about it.
Okay.
We also, again, the Vibrant Michigan City, this is one of the things that's on their list now.
Okay.
And they talk about it on a regular basis. Any meeting we go to, there's a large focus on this being completed. They even helped do the grant and we did not get the grant. It was $50,000. I think it was through Verizon, and we did not get that. But I'm still excited about what we have here. And when we talk with Nick Pollock this week, he brought in 2 other guys with him. And they were brainstorming even at lunch trying to figure out, okay, who else can we get to help make sure that this project is complete?
But one of the things that I was thinking of is you were talking earlier about partnerships. One of the things I think sometimes it could be right here,
Yes.
and we look right past
Yes.
it, and that's the local grocery stores. If you're growing fresh produce and that product can be taken to the grocery stores, Al's, locally owned, or Myers, or even Walmart, locally grown.
There's a very small Nature's Covered as well over by.
There you go.
South.
Okay.
Those
It's like
are
a very
just
small-
businesses that are open daily that require produce daily because
Yes.
people come to get it daily. So if you got a relationship where that's working locally grown, and even supporting, there's a couple of things that.
Well, the farmers market.
That's what I was about to say.
The
The
farmer's market,
would be
I
just
heard
amazing.
that their excess on Sunday, when they have overages, they don't want to take it back to their farm or wherever. They just give it to programs like this.
Right.
And so that gives more opportunity for us to have that food available for the people that's really in need.
The growing part is where I'm stuck on and what I'm really focused in on because, again, having a greenhouse,
Yes.
and if that greenhouse is the state-of-the-art greenhouse that has everything new from solar going
Yes.
on in it,
Mhm.
where other federal funding can be acquired because
Yes.
you are using that type of engineering,
Yes.
can be the centerpiece to this.
Okay.
Because there are no other greenhouses that I know of
Right.
in and around this area
Right.
that could provide fresh produce
Fresh.
to the stores
Yeah.
year round, locally grown.
Yeah. Have you all seen the community garden in LaPorte? They just built
I
a
have not.
brand new one
Yeah.
on Brighton.
I wouldn't be surprised that when they're doing great things.
It's wonderful because we were kind of stuck between, okay, do we use wood or do we use galvanized steel? A friend of mine, Dan Big, I don't know if you all know him, but Dan Big lives in LaPorte. He's he's a master gardener. He did a program for the inner city schools in Chicago, big write-up and everything, where he taught the kids how to grow fruits, vegetables. He first took me to their regular one. And then he said, okay, now I'm going to take you over to the Cadillac. And he took me to the one on Brighton. This thing has concrete
It's difference.
beds.
Wow.
So we're regular wood, 3 years, 5 years, galvanized steel longer, depending on the thickness and all. But when you're dealing with concrete, you're talking almost forever. That there are 30 years or so that these concrete beds are going to be there. Yeah, you got your upfront costs, but you don't have to mess with them.
And they're producing, aren't they?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's probably it's a great community thing, but also it's lucrative.
Yeah. So the sky's really the limit on what can be done with this if you get the right backers behind it, and we're working on that now. Information, even some of the information that you just gave, is wonderful information for us to reach out to other entities to try. I'm a rookie at this. I'm going to be truthful. I don't know anything about these gardens except for the little garden that I had, one little bed that had some tomatoes in it, and I fell in love with it, even though I don't like tomatoes, because I grew it.
Right.
You know, I put my hand there, I put my work in there, and I saw the difference.
So that was going to be my question to you is, how is this going to be curated, and who's going to sort of be running the programming and the education element? Dan is going to be involved with it.
The biggest ones that have the information. We also want to partner with Purdue. They have a program where they have master gardeners, and they have to give it so many hours per year as volunteers to maintain that status or that label. And so we're going to reach out to them also so that they can help and give us the information that's already there. We're not trying to reinvent anything, because there's a wealth of information already in this area, and our job is, or our plan is, to really tap into that.
Pull them out.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And
You're
again,
right.
join people together that wouldn't normally cross paths. That's what our intention is.
So I guess I also don't, I'm new to a community garden concept as well. I get the community element and the community involvement. Do individuals get to kind of take ownership of one of the beds, or is this truly like a community effort and somebody comes in the gate and they can pull from any of the beds
Yes,
right?
it's a combination. It's a combination where you get some people and say, that's your bed. Or they say, hey, can I get a bed out here? And we say, yes. Those normally are those people that have done this quite often. They know exactly what's going on now, and they can be a help to those that are new. Because they already have that expertise. They're already excited about what they're doing. So that's why they're there. And then you have some beds that are geared toward those people in that community that you seek out and find that they can use this. They can use this stuff that's being grown here. There's some volunteers that I talked to. They don't necessarily want to do it for themselves. They are already okay. They can afford to go in the store, buy the food. They don't have an issue with it. But the joy of getting out there and growing it from start, seeing it, and then being able to hand it off to somebody else that really needs, and hopefully in the process teaching them. That's one of the biggest things that we want to get out of this. Just what's the saying about you can teach somebody the fishing or give them a sandwich or whatever.
Fish, feed them for a day. Teach them to fish, feed them
teach
for a
them how to
lifetime.
fish. That's the real concept here, is to teach them how to grow it on your own, and then from that, then you teach someone else. So hopefully that's what's going to happen out of a project like this.
So what is our role in all of this? I guess that's the one thing.
To help with the grant. It's different technically than a business grant, because it
Yeah.
falls outside of our normal business grant. So that's why he's here explaining, so we can make a decision if we're gonna do it a little bit different.
Supporting it as a community.
Okay. Rodney
effort.
is on too, so Yep, he shows on the right side participants.
Shoot. What time is it?
6:29.
Rodney, were you able to hear any of that?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
carries.
You should be able to hear you.
You should be okay.
Hey, Rodney.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Forgive me for being late. I forgot all about it, and then I've got something going on in South Bend right now, but I'm here.
All right. Well, with that being said, have you had an opportunity to look at the minutes?
Are you gonna call the meeting to order officially?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order officially. It is now 6:30. On May the 25th, 2023. Reverend Hurt gave us an information session just now on their efforts for the community garden. We're not gonna have him to go over that again. We'll have a discussion as a group at a later date. May call a special session for that. So for the sake of time, we don't want to take up any more of your time, and thanks for coming out. Was there anybody else have any more questions for Reverend Hurt?
You did a great job explaining everything.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all for having me. Appreciate you.
I'm gonna scan this new picture in too, so everybody that's not here can see it. It'll be on the Google Drive.
Perfect, thank you. Can we get approval for the minutes for, if everyone has had an opportunity to look at them that has them before them? That would
Motion
be,
to approve the minutes.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, so it's ordered. Any extensions? Any nays? Ayes have it. Let's move on to the financial report and claims. I think that Gabrielle, once again, has done a really good job of letting us see what has transpired over the last almost 35 days since we've seen each other. Again, the information is here. It's really self-explanatory. All you have to do is really look at it. And again, I just appreciate you for just spelling it all out and having every single piece of documentation before us. It's refreshing.
The invoices for Verizon and
I see.
Netflix are also in the financial binder.
I see. So if there's no problem, or if everyone is on the same page with the financial report, we can go ahead and approve that.
Motion to approve the financials. Do we need March and April?
Second.
Hold on just a second. Let's get some clarification.
I have a question. Why is there a difference in Gabrielle's payroll? Like why are they two different amounts? Like why is March different than April?
Because I broke it down like daily rate so that it's truly for that month, not exactly what is paid. If you go on the bank statements, you can see exactly what's been paid out, like through the statement, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
That way it's truly like the 1st to the 30th or the 1st to the 31st.
Oh, I understand. Okay, got it. Thank you.
And thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, March 1st to April 30th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is a second on the floor for the financial report to be approved. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposing? Motion carries. Financial report is accepted. Let's move on to the director's report.
You didn't skip it.
No, on purpose.
So there were no residential grants to approve. The business grant applications to approve were Martin Olferts and Associates, which has really been on the table since about November. It's been waiting for the grant process to open. So we presented the application at the last meeting. Everybody should have had a chance to review it. And then I also updated our EZVR forms for 2022 and mailed them out. I started to receive some of the completed ones back already, so that's been pretty good.
Can you just refresh my memory on what Martin Olfert's, is it a roof renovation?
It was like a facade. I think it was pretty much like a total outside
That's okay.
renovation,
Gotcha.
comprehensive top and bottom.
And that one, Jeremy, is in your other packet.
Yeah,
Oh, that's-
yeah,
that's-
that was the
okay.
one thing from that
Okay.
one.
Got it.
It was kind of pretty extensive. It was kind of
It
cool
was very
too.
comprehensive.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember now.
Is that on the
It's on
table
new
to discuss?
business. It's under new
Okay,
business.
all right.
So with that being said, it's a,
Commissioner McCormick does have his hand up.
Oh, you have a question, Rodney?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, for Martin Alford, Attorney of Martin Alford, can we just send that to the committee so they can look over the grant and see if we are going to move to approve it or not?
That was the one that we said we were gonna discuss and approve at this meeting because it's been waiting for so long and we didn't know for sure if the committee was even
Right.
a thing while it was
Right.
introduced. So that's what, it was tabled at the last meeting to,
so for clarification, what being said is that this was a particular grant, a request that we talked about discussing as a overall committee instead of sending it back to the review committee simply because it has been on the table for such a long time. And we were trying to find a way to move this forward simply because everything we need to see is here.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to send it back to committee. I think that if we do need to send it back to committee, which is fine, I would then like for us to consider having an executive session like within the next few days so that we can really hammer out any problems or concerns and then come back a day or two and have a overall quorum to pass this through. So we're talking about within the next 2 weeks to try to move this process through.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if we have a quorum now, I move that we accept the grant and make payment.
Quick question though. So
Hold on, Rodney, there's a question on the floor.
is it 2 quotes to satisfy the grant or 3 quotes to satisfy the grant?
I think it's a two.
Two.
Is it 2?
Yes.
Okay.
And there
Okay, I
are
just wanted to
two
make sure.
there.
Just two.
Yeah, there's 2
Um,
bids on the work about to be performed, local contractors preferred.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to approve this now.
Correct. All in favor? Is there a second?
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions or any opposing votes?
Nay.
Let the record show we have 1 nay. Can you talk to us, Darren, about any concerns you may have?
My only concern is in the,
I'm sorry, the motion fails. Go ahead.
does it fail?
It does fail.
Okay. My concern with it is the 2 estimates are literally identical except on their price. In format, in even typeface, it is word for word. And I would just like clarification on that. There are phone numbers. I really don't intend to postpone this anymore. I think it's a sincere effort, and I don't doubt that. But I'm just kind of confused by. I've never heard of either of these companies. That's not to say I've heard of all of them and would know, but I had given some pause in reviewing these 2 estimates. And I'm open to discussion, and if other board members feel that that's something that's irrelevant, I'd like to hear everyone's thoughts.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Rodney.
If we can, that's why I just wanted to send it to our committee. And if our subcommittee came back and recommend approval, then we won't have to do this. And I now move that we send it to the subcommittee and let them make the phone calls if necessary, the answers to the questions that's, have board members concerned, so we can get this moved on.
Okay, Rodney, you're right on point, but go ahead, Jeremy, before that motion is set on the floor. Jeremy, your concern or your thought?
No, I agree. I think that we need to do, based on Darren's concern, I think that this warrants a second look and a phone call, couple of phone calls. Yeah.
With the motion already failing, we are now showing, let the record show, we are now asking for the review committee to take a second look at what has been presented here today so that we could identify an appropriate time to bring this body back together as soon as possible to move this process forward. That is not a motion that needs to be voted on. With that being said, Rodney, that might have went around the block to come back to what you recommended, but again, I think it's okay that we talk that out and make sure that we're all on the same page about moving this forward, because I think, again, they've been patient and we now need to respond accordingly to move this process forward. So, any concerns, any questions, any comments?
I just know Mr. Martin Alford, I think, he's been in business in Michigan City for quite a while. He's an attorney. His integrity is not in that question as far as I'm concerned. I just think that we need to just let the committee make the recommendation and let's follow it. Move on.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Gabrielle, were you done?
Yeah, the next one was just the COHCP's update. I met with them on May 11th about our taxes. They were the only accounting firm that responded to my requests for it out of the 3 that I contacted. They filed the extension for us in time, so we're good there. We have until November to get our taxes filed. They're putting a quote together for accounting support as well as the tax filing. So as soon as I get that, I'll be able to share it with everyone.
Great. So let the record show that process as far as the taxes and the extension that needed to be filed was done on time, and that we are very still, let me rephrase this, we still want to act in good faith and making sure that we meet all of our deadlines on time. That one, I think we got kind of like cut off at the knees at the last minute, but I still am very pleased to know that we followed that extension and got it in on time. So, good deal with that. The executive director's position, we did not receive any more applications other than the one that we received. And we did share the applicant's information with everyone on the review committee. And what we're going to do is have an executive meeting, call that meeting, to just talk about any thoughts that individuals have after reviewing that information, and then we'll go ahead and make a decision. And moving forward with...
So is there an interview process for that? Like, would that person be interviewed?
I think we're going to have a phone conversation because that person is in Indianapolis. I don't think that we're going to actually ask them to come all the way to Michigan City
So
at
maybe like
this
a
point.
Zoom though would be better, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
They have been contacted to let them know that this process is unfolding. It's a little slow in its process because of the mechanism that triggers this body, and they understand. So I try not to keep people hanging. Gabrielle, did you want to talk about the revolving loan app?
I can. So I included it in the board packets. It's an application for a revolving loan fund. Our meeting with the feds, that was one of the biggest things that we were all really interested in getting was the revolving loan. Because we think it'll really help businesses, but there's already one in LaPorte County. So I went ahead and included the application, so we were able to forward that to businesses that might need a little extra support. It seems pretty straightforward to me. It's only a 3-page application.
It looks like Rodney has a question.
Go ahead, Rodney.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, do we have something pending with Reaper Graphic Arts?
They sent in an application after we already had the agenda out, so it'll be on next month.
Got it?
Okay. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. So did anybody have any questions about the revolving loan application packet and what and how it can support our efforts? I think there's more information to come on it. Stay tuned.
Yeah, it's through NERC.
Was there a deadline or anything on this that has to be
I don't
fulfilled?
I don't remember hearing one.
It doesn't look like it.
No. But all the information, like further information, is on the NERC website for it.
Okay.
And I think the newfound relationship with NERC and with the feds is going to be very beneficial to our efforts. I think that they're eager to see what we know and we're eager to see what they know. And I think that's going to form a good relationship. And I also want to say with that, we have really been getting a lot of positive feedback from community folks with calls and support and messages. So it's just a really good feeling for folks to be understanding what our efforts are to try to move this forward in a positive frame. Whether we have the support by the folks that picked us to sit here or not, we are going to continue to try to be a positive reinforcement in the community. With that being said, Old Business is a community garden that Pastor Hurt has shared with us, and again, we'll make sure that the packet that we have, that everyone has their questions answered so that we can move forward with our efforts in supporting or not this community garden on the west side where there's a food desert and things like this are definitely needed for sure. The bylaws, they are on Google Drive, and so that means that everyone that is on this board that wants to have that information, no, let me backtrack. That information will be made available for you. Your role will be to look at that and add to it any information or suggestions you may have, to highlight and make comment to those that you may have concerns about. The template that we have is the bylaws that are in place right now that actually managed and governed this board since 2004. There's some good stuff there. There is some things that need to be addressed and updated. And with the like-minded people sitting around this room and on Zoom, I'm sure we can get there and make sure that we're on point with our bylaws and that everything is in line like it's supposed to be as far as with Robert's Rule of Order and being transparent and making sure that we're a governing body in line with the state rules and regulations as well. And then of being support to the city of Michigan City in the manner where we're still that tool that can be called upon when needed. Strategic plan. I'm just gonna say it. I worked on it a long time. If you all would take the time and add to it and look at it,
I
go
need the
ahead.
virtual copy so I can get it onto the Google Drive because I don't have that.
I'll make sure you have it.
Yep.
Add to it. Tear it apart, rip it up. But just let's move along with it because, again, I think it's just going to help us. It's going to keep us in line and keep us governing in a way where I think we can see some outcomes which we have not showed measurement for in that document, nor the outputs that would be done. But that could be easily done, added to the document. But the main thing is that everything else is there. It's just a matter of us, again, agreeing or disagreeing how to maybe add or remove anything that needs to be added to the document. And again, I think we should address it and put it in place and adapt it, because having a strategic plan is very, very important when we start to work with federal partners, regional partners, and state partners that are saying that we're here and we'll support your efforts and we will partner with you and provide you with matching funds. So we want to make sure that we can present that, because that will look good on our applications. Right?
Absolutely.
Is there a copy of that you've started here?
It's
Or-
not here, but we
It will be on
do.
the strategic plan will be on
Right.
the Google Drive as soon as I get a virtual copy.
This is
of
for
it.
the strategic plan to handle what's been going on with previous.
It's just for us to have a vision of where we're going, what our plans are, give us some kind of structure.
Sort of a roadmap of our
Yeah.
intentions.
I really was not thinking about what we went through. I only just focused on.
Where are we at with that? What we want, like reconciling with these.
After our training session with LaPorte, some of the things that were said, we're going to be contacting Anthony to talk to him about his opinion of how we should move forward.
Okay.
The attorney.
Yeah.
What she recommended.
Right. Where are we at with the company that we are hiring to handle the financial part of it? Like, are they still on the back? Where are they at right now with everything?
Are you thinking of Brian?
Brian
Brian,
is not
yeah.
employed with them anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was our response to that.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So we
Because.
like start all over?
Mhm. And on
So
top.
I still have everything that he sent to us, thankfully. But
Right. That's
Dan Bowditch is his boss, so if we need support, that's who we're going to have to reach out to now.
Okay.
We're moving forward with identifying new people, and those individuals who we had identified with who would be appropriate to work with did give us pretty good information to keep us moving forward. But once again, it was one of those things where they decided to move on, and they're no longer in the field, and we were starting over again. But we're okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess before we start approving then business residential grants and stuff, shouldn't we look into like I don't know, like financial, like our finances, and if we have to reimburse these people, like, I mean, how much money do we need to have in the account to be able to do that? And is that why we've been holding off on doing these, like approving these
Our grant
grants?
cycles are normally not open until April.
Okay. But that's the
Just
concern I
happened to be,
have,
like,
is what
all
that
of this
number
happened at
is,
that
if we
timing.
have to reconcile with these businesses, what that amount is and what we need to have in the account to satisfy that.
We are very much aware of the exact amount that is required if indeed we do have to reconcile with those businesses. But this goes back to what we now understand better in the process about the information and the auditor being sent down properly and it not being a reflection of us and our work, and then our ability to allow that business to then not pay taxes or pay the tax credit.
Right, I know that was one of the options.
And right, and then of course move that forward.
Mhm.
Those are the things that we more than likely will do.
Well, yeah,
That makes more sense for us to do as a board and as an association, because it's not a reflection of us. This is
Right.
something that was done
Right.
basically by the.
Yeah, and we're the ones who have to
And
carry the burden of it.
We have to.
Yeah.
In our way of fixing it is we have that option.
Yeah.
And that option to allow that to be vacated to move to the next
Yeah.
period is definitely smart on our part. But those are all things that we'll have to discuss and
And we need support from an attorney to.
right.
Right, and isn't the mayor
Recollection.
wanting to meet with us at some point
What was
too?
that?
Wasn't the mayor interested in meeting with
Yes,
us?
he made a call in regards to us having a conversation with him to understand what this decision we have made will be. And at that point, he will then be notified that we have gotten the information from the attorney that this is okay, because that's the process, that's the direction we're going.
Okay.
And the letter that we have not
Not sent.
approved is speaking towards, again, going in that direction, but we do want to have legal advice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's none of the information, again, there is no $100,000 that we owe.
Right.
That's just not it.
Yeah.
So that information was incorrect that he
Okay.
questioned us on.
Okay.
And we got him, we gave him the right information so that he now understands exactly what the amount is and exactly what the process is.
Okay.
But once again, there's no one from the city at the table.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
So the information to be carried back to the mayor would come from his representative sitting here
Who is not here?
at this table.
Yeah.
And then the information would be correct. And then we would not have misinformation going out into the community as if we're not aware of what it is. We're spending lots of volunteer time to figure out.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think we need to have that representation here, but
Can't
clearly that's not what's being said.
Rodney has a hand up.
Go ahead, Rodney.
Yes, when it comes to the strategic plan and the bylaws, I think today we need to just go ahead and set a deadline on when we're gonna respond to those. If anybody wants to add or subtract from it, and let's get this passed. Cause I don't think it's, right to be functioning without bylaws in place. And I just think that we need to get those things done. That's fundamental stuff that needs to be done.
I
We need to set a deadline
I agree, Rodney.
on both.
So if anyone wants to have,
So in our previous meeting, we had, let me look at the minutes here. We had set out that the executive committee and any other members who wanted to participate would have an executive session to fully design and construct new bylaws. I think that's the direction we go in. I don't know if that was actually a motion that was just discussed, but I would motion that we set a date. Well, I guess I can't motion just yet, but we got to set a date that works for the executive committee at a very minimum. And I would say probably before our next meeting that this needs to occur. I agree with you there, Rodney. We need to on both of these items. So for discussion, I suppose let's set a date that the executive committee can meet.
It's probably gonna be a full day.
I think that we should look at the earliest date in June where we can do that. And we probably should make it a full day, for sure. And then take in mind what is getting ready to happen for a lot of people sitting at the table. It's the summer in business, and everybody's business is picking up. And what that means for all of us who are volunteering our time to come here and try to make sure that we're good stewards in this effort. So I'm going to recommend by the first, let me look at my calendar and make this recommendation right now because I don't think we need to belabor this anymore. And I'm looking at June the 6th, which is a Thursday.
Tuesday.
I mean a Tuesday. If not a Tuesday, let's look at June 8th. I'm sorry, June 8th, which is a Thursday. Is that doable?
Works for me.
I can.
All right. Rodney, Dave,
Whoever's gonna be on the executive, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
I cannot make June the 8th.
Okay.
we will get with Lawrence. Because Lawrence was the other person. That will work. Right? Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I believe that if you're gonna send this to a subcommittee to examine and get it done, I just say, just get it done, and whoever wants to be a part of that committee, whoever wants to be a part of it, raise their hand or say, hey, I'm gonna be a part of it. You guys set a date, and let's go, because we trust each other here. Let's just get it over with.
Well, I am going to invite, as the board president, the entire board to that meeting on the 8th at 6 o'clock, and we will let you know the location.
6 p.m. I think that's not gonna be enough time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I take all that back.
Yeah,
I take all that back. I take all that back. On June the 8th, we'll probably need to start at least by 11. But we will send you out a calendar and an outline with an agenda of what we're anticipating and the time frame in which it may take. I'm thinking probably from 11 to maybe 5 with a break in between. But we can work out those particulars and send that out to everyone. The entire board, okay, can sit in for this process, and that's what I recommend. You can be there, come. Let's do this and get this moved.
If they can't come,
With that understanding, understand the open door law, that we must, if we have a quorum, we have to send out notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will.
Executive session.
We will.
Okay.
We will. Thanks, Rodney. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely.
oh, I was gonna say if there are people that cannot attend, so this meeting will finalize that.
We'll
Correct.
still have to vote to,
And we still have to
Everything.
vote after that.
but it's still constructed.
Okay.
But it'll be in front of us. We're voting on this document that we just went through and basically laid out through the executive session. So now it's sitting in front of us. We're voting on this
Okay.
document.
Got
That's
it.
the
And that'll be
process.
voted on at our actual meeting.
Correct. That is what
Okay,
Dan
correct.
is saying.
Would that be worthwhile to run our newly constructed bylaws by Anthony before
Absolutely.
I think
final approval?
Once they're
Absolutely.
done, though, I don't think that he necessarily has to go to the whole.
No, not the whole
meeting.
meeting, but
For
like
that.
what we, at the end of that meeting, what we
Come up
Yes,
with.
Send it to
And
everybody.
before it's presented to the board for a vote,
Yeah.
just make
Yes.
sure we're compliant and
I think that's an excellent idea, and that'll go right in line with our reaching out to him to provide us with this assistance that we already need. This
Right.
can all go together for that billing process. So, good deal. Any questions? Any concerns? We have any public comments?
I would like to put out for discussion once more the idea that we purchase a website. And I don't know where that stood last time, if
I thought we approved that.
I don't know that it was voted on.
we're like
Now it was voted
allowed
on.
to.
Yeah.
I think we need to,
Well, it's one thing to create a website, it's another thing to maintain a website. So that would be either you doing it or hiring an agency to do that for us.
And it's not cheap to hire an agency to do
No.
that.
Sarah Group is doing ours right now, and it's really expensive. So
ridiculously expensive or
to build it, the initial fee is around $4,000,
Mhm, which is
and then
common.
there is a monthly agency fee to maintain it, which is between $180 and $380.
a little pricey on the
Mm,
monthly
it is a
fee.
lot.
Yeah.
On the monthly fee, but that 4,000 is really
Now, what they will do though, if you decide if you want to maintain it, they will actually teach you how to use WordPress, and then you can maintain it yourself,
Right.
which would save us money.
And the
That would be
time of
taking
waiting
on
for somebody
another-
else to do it.
Correct. Yeah, that would be you
Instantly
taking on more
updated.
responsibility though.
I've built out websites for businesses of mine in the past, and WordPress is like the gold standard,
Yeah.
right, for a
Yeah.
website builder. It's extremely robust, but there are other platforms that are like very intuitive, and you just type here and make this box.
Like
and it's-
Wix is
Yeah.
what we used to use.
Yeah.
And it is very easy to get started.
So for the purpose of what this board puts out on the web, I don't think it needs to be a super high caliber content website. It needs to have our basic information, our bylaws, our headshots, our,
Basic information,
Basic-
contact,
a
and,
place
and our
where-
efforts, and
Right.
yeah.
and I would love to see a running log of our approved projects and grants before,
And
But-
maybe even the comment section from those folks that we've worked with as we learn to try to do better in what we do.
But I guess my point is, Sarah does it. I'm sure they do an outstanding website. I don't think this board needs
Needs
to
that
achieve that level. We don't
I
have
agree.
customers visiting our website per se.
So-
But we need control of our online presence in some capacity.
So are we going back to, are you still interested in helping to build this website out and move it forward and get assistance in that? Or is this something that you are thinking that you can do here relatively over the next month so we can move this forward? Because I think this is long overdue as well.
Well, I think we should get pricing, like what it costs to
That's exactly
subscribe,
what-
and then we can vote on that.
Right.
Because we have to make sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Mr. President, that's what I thought we agreed on that.
We did.
So get some type of pricing
We
and
did.
then bring that back to us. Meanwhile, I don't know why we're not using what the city already had for us. All we have to do is go down to the sanitation department and the IT people take care of the city. Let's just get our stuff done for right now until we get, our website set up the way you guys, like, the way we want to see it, so.
I think it's the amount of time it takes them to make an update is why this has
Yeah.
become important.
And if they could just throw the link to our website that we can update in real time, it would make it a lot easier and a lot more updated information.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna back all of it up and just come back to the pricing that
Sure.
we talked about getting to have in front of us so that we can move forward in making a decision is where we need to stay.
so yes, to answer what you had asked of me, by next meeting, I will bring pricing for the domains that I think we should purchase and costs at very least for annual or monthly carrying costs of different services. I can't exactly commit to building out a website.
Well, I think that's where we need to figure out first who is going
Yeah.
to create it and maintain it before we even bother doing all the other stuff. Because if no one's going to be able to create it, then what's the point?
Yeah.
And that's what I think when we were looking at an agency to do it.
It
But,
was.
I mean,
I've done them before,
it won't be
but it's been many years, so things have changed.
for sure. Yeah.
But everybody says if you can update your Facebook page, you can update
Yeah.
your website. I mean, it's maybe a little bit more algorithms that go into it, but
A lot
As
of
long as we
it.
find a user-friendly one.
it's understanding too how you're presenting your information. But we can come back to that. Can we still do
I have an idea.
Go ahead, Skylar. I'm sorry. I wish it was Skylar. Next to
If it
Scott,
doesn't
Jeremy.
need to be very in depth, and it can just be like panel 1, panel 2, panel 3. I mean,
Yeah.
Uptown uses Planning Pod, which what we can do is create a client account for the UEZ with you being the contact person, and it is very, and it wouldn't cost us a dime. It's like you have your main page. You can do YouTube videos. You can create dialogue in there. You can actually have people comment through there. You can attach your email to it, so if they want to contact you via email, it'll go to your email. You can also create your own URL, but the only issue is it's not going to be like it can be like UEZ Michigan City, but it's going to be .planningpod.com.
Okay.
That's the only thing. It wouldn't be like a .org or
But for it being free, I think that needs to be taken into consideration.
and it would take you like literally 15 minutes to build it.
So it really sounds like you two need to talk.
Well, I mean, if you guys are good with that being the URL, actually it wouldn't even matter, because if they're going to the Michigan City page to click on our link,
Right.
they wouldn't even see the URL.
Right.
It would just be
Is-
hyperlinked.
Did we, and forgive me for not remembering, did we decide that that needs to come from the Michigan City?
See, that's what I was just ready to say, but it being a hyperlink, why would we want to stop it?
Right.
I guess that would be, prevent it from being accessible through the Michigan. I just don't see the reason for us.
Can we ask the clerk?
Yeah.
And like, are we in balance
ask.
by doing this is kind of
Mm-mm.
step one, I think.
I think that's a good idea. I'll ask him. That's not a problem.
Okay.
That's a really good
And
idea.
then that'll, you let me know that, and then I'll dig into my research.
And then again,
And then we can talk about how to build it out.
Perfect.
Very good.
I hope you all got that. I think we just worked it out. But Reverend, you were going to say
Public
something.
comment, yes. I have not been to the city site in about a month or so, so I don't know if they still have the same problem where, and this would, if you all were able to do it, this would correct it. But until that time, someone needs to correct the problem that shows that you all are meeting elsewhere.
I sent it out.
You just have no idea.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying it now. Maybe if they hear it now, they can act upon it since it has been made a public comment.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Are we still on public comment?
Yes, we are. You
I
have
just want to
one?
close with this for me, if you have a second.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, this is the first time I did a Zoom meeting like this, and it's kind of hard to do. I hate not being there in person. To all of my fellow commissioners, I just want to apologize for not being there and a misunderstanding for the last meeting, but after the last meeting that we were all in attendance, I just have serious safety concerns, and I hope that we can get that addressed as a board moving forward, because we made a lot of progress, great progress, and I hate for this to go backwards because of just nonsense. And I apologize to each and every one of you, but if we can't address the safety issue, I'm not coming back. I'm not
Well,
trying
he
to
resigned.
I just still want to say thank you.
All right. Is there any other questions or concerns on the table? Anybody got any comments? Meeting adjourned.
Hey.